Are you considering selling your home and want to make sure that you don't leave any money on the table? A lot of people underestimate the benefits and how important it is to prepare their home before listing. Something I see all the time is people waiting until they're ready to sell before they communicate with their listing rep and end up missing crucial steps to ensure that they get top dollar and get themselves the highest likelihood of attracting the best offers. Another thing I try to put into perspective for my clients is that when you're selling your home, the gains aren't taxable. So 10,000 is actually 10,000. And I like to ask them, how many hours and how much hassle would you endure at your normal job to make 10,000 of after-tax money? So when I ask them to spend the weekend tidying things up, decluttering and dialing your place in before photos, it becomes clear that these are some of the highest dollar per hour activities that you can do. And most of this stuff could even be hired out for very little, and it still makes the returns absolutely worth it. The difference between somebody who prepares their home and the person who puts their home on the market and then just hopes for the best is easily more than 10,000. Now, every home will have its unique set of things that should be done. To that way, it ensures that the home's going to show its best and it's ready for the limelight. But not everything's worth your time, and we'll get into that in a bit. So it's important to discuss with an agent who understands these things and where to focus your energy and your resources, because believe it or not all agents do this. So don't be afraid to ask questions and ensure that you and the agent are on the same page. So I hope with this video is to give a decent understanding of the things that you could do to make the most out of this amazing opportunity to maximize your returns in one of the few instances that the taxman doesn't have his greedy little hand out for his share. So before we get into the tactics, I want to make clear that this is of course going to be a pain in your butt, but so it's going to work. And I would argue that very few of you make more per hour at your normal job than what you can by preparing your home for sale. So just remember that before you throw in the towel and say, bugger it, the buyers can do what they like. Remember, in life, things can either be easy or profitable. They are rarely both, and I assure you this is worth doing. So let's get into it. To start, I want you to put yourself in the buyer's shoes. Remember, these buyers live in the payment. They're putting a percentage down and then financing the rest. To you, 50,000 is 50,000. To them, 50,000 is as low as $2,500 and a couple hundred a month. So for them, when they see something that needs work, they're weighing options. Your home compared to others that don't need work. And for a few hundred a month, they don't need to bother with yelling at tradespeople who don't show up and all the hassles that go into a renovation. This is why it makes so much sense to dial your home in advance, because the buyers are using leverage and they live in the payment. They're able to amortize the convenience of not having to deal with this hassle over a long period of time. Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone needs to renovate their home before they sell, but there's a lot of things that can be done affordably and quickly to net you some sizable gains. I'm sure you've all heard the term curb appeal and that first impressions matter. What this means is, what feeling does pulling up to your home give the buyer? Is that initial feeling positive, or does it leave them wanting more? Your goal, of course, is to elicit a positive feeling as they arrive at what could be their future home. Now, throughout this whole exercise, I want you to wear your buyer's hat. Think objectively about what can be done to bring about this positive feeling. This means freshly cut grass, new bark mulch, crush, pressure wash your driveway, fascia boards, fencing, or anything else that has been beaten by the sun. Give it a lick of paint, bring it back to life. Are you storing anything in your yard or driveway that doesn't need to be there? Another really inexpensive way to modernize your home is some tasteful but funky house numbers. If you still have brass outdoor lighting, swap those out for something more current. It's actually a lot more affordable than you think. Now, a mindset I try and instill into my clients is the moment we've decided to sell, this is no longer your home. It's a house, a commodity that we're looking to make as desirable as we can on the open market to fetch us the most amount of money possible. Now, everything that will remain in your house should be left there for a reason. You have to ask yourself, if it isn't helping your home sell and you don't need it in your day-to-day life, it shouldn't be here. It should either be stored, sold, donated, or part of a dump run. Again, there are many people who can help you with this. You don't have to go it alone. It's worth hiring some extra hands to help instead of, running out of time and then not doing it at all. We want the space to be as free of clutter and as clean as possible. What I've learned from nearly 15 years in the business is clean is actually quite a wide spectrum. One person's version of clean is not another. So to ensure that the neat freak, who may have the biggest checkbook, doesn't walk into your home and feel uncomfortable, it's imperative that you roll up your sleeves or just invest in a professional deep clean. It's totally worth it. And again, takes some of the burden off of you. So this ensures that anybody who walks into your home is going to feel comfortable. Okay. Now, our mission is to have as many people as possible be able to imagine your house as their home. Now, this leads me to our next wide spectrum, and that's style. We all have our own styles, and that's what makes us us. But remember, this is no longer your home. We're trying to make money, and we want to have as many buyers as possible interested. So the way we don't exclude some of those buyers is by avoiding extremes. We want to be as neutral as possible. Now, this means if you've got wild or maybe fun taste, and your home has some paint colors that won't be everybody's cup of tea, you really should consider a fresh coat of something more neutral. Colorful people, they can imagine where they would splash color. Yet neutral people have a hard time looking past bold colors. So believe it or not, it's incredibly common for a home to be dismissed by a buyer just because of the paint color. Everything else could have been a fit, but the color kills it. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it's the reality. Don't risk turning a highly qualified buyer off by missing the opportunity to create a blank slate for everybody. Paint colors aren't the only things to deter buyers. This goes for anything like hunters with trophy displays. Now, I get how meaningful this is to people. Now more than ever, however, people have bleeding hearts, and there are many buyers who would have a hard time feeling at home when they walk inside when there are animals hanging on the wall. So remember, the only things that should remain in your home when it's listed for sale are things that are going to help it sell. Anything not helping it sell should be packed up as you're moving, and it's got to be done anyway. So you might as well do it first when it actually pays you and makes your home easier to sell. So lots of exotic decor gathered from your travels abroad, large quantities of religious items, or anything that could be perceived as polarizing, they should be kept to a minimum or removed altogether. Now, people will be opening your closets, so don't use them as your dumping grounds when you're going through the decluttering stage. You want as little in the home as possible. And I think we can all agree that you can never really have enough storage space. So if your storage areas and closets are stuffed, it gives the buyer the feeling there isn't enough storage. In your bedroom closet, a great way to save room, because of course we all want to still be able to get dressed in the morning, is to just take anything off season and pack it away. So if it's summer, put away your winter stuff and vice versa. We're huge believers in the power of staging because some people aren't naturally gifted at design, and that's okay. But when we're trying to sell your home, there are things that you currently own and have as either furniture, decor, or even just the towels in your bathrooms that hurt your ability to sell. So despite none of this stuff coming with the home in the sale, it does affect how buyers feel when they walk through the home. Now, if you're in this camp, and I know you know who you are, you should definitely consider the help of a professional stager, either to provide rental decor or they can help you acquire the items that will help the cause. We've got a professional stager that helps with every single one of our listings. And at first, it's always tough to convince a client that it's not a cost, but actually an investment. But each and every time after the work's done, they always say, wow, you weren't kidding, that was totally worth it. So if you're not prepared to have professional help, I would strongly encourage at the very least a trip to HomeSense and think neutral. Pick yourself up some white towels for your bathroom, white shower curtains. And if you've got dark window curtains, I know I sleep with blackouts, grab some white ones though. You want the space to feel as large and bright as possible. So another thing people often miss in this department is simple and clean bedding. And yes, you have to make your bed. So going back to decluttering, don't now take all of these items that you've packed up and stuff them into your garage, okay? Your garage is an asset and you want it to feel as big as possible. Keep your garage tidy, clean, and free from anything that doesn't need to be in there, okay? When I said not everything is worth doing, I meant it. The whole point of doing anything to your home before you sell it is to have a net return on your efforts. Not everything will be worth doing, and there are other factors to consider as well, like how's the market? What's the trajectory of the market? What time of year is it, and how does the timing affect things? Sometimes timing is more important than a particular rental, and this is where an agent who has their finger on the pulse can really help you navigate this and help guide you on where to focus. Lastly, I want to talk about the potential of doing a pre-listing inspection. Almost every buyer will be doing a home inspection on your property. Why wait to uncover challenges later when you can get ahead of them now? A pre-list inspection will give you a list of stuff to tackle that could have otherwise torpedoed your sale and also give you the confidence knowing that there will be surprises and renegotiations later. Because trust me, having your home on the market is not fun and no one wants to go through it for any longer than they have to. So after any amount of showings and walking on eggshells for the duration of your listing, the last thing you want is a renegotiation later. And when you have an inspection and the buyer wants to renegotiate, you will not be in a position of power. In that moment, you'll be much more susceptible to caving at their demands merely in an effort to be done with the process. Usually that means a larger discount later than if you just handled it in the first place. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list of things, as there are so many great ideas that can help you make your home show as good as possible. But I hope this at least gives you the right mindset to run with and set yourself up for success in attracting the best buyer to work with. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me share some of the things that we implement daily and have learned over thousands of transactions over the years. Now, if you found this helpful, I'd really appreciate you liking, subscribing, and coming back for more tales from the trenches so you can get the most out of your real estate investments. We've also got some great checklists I'd be happy to share with you if you're interested. So just comment below. To your success. Good luck out there.